We're back, everybody, with an episode of Wonderkid to Superstar, today focusing on a striker who has a potential that many of your favourites of FM22 will have, but just isn't used nearly as often, is in the majority of your guys' saves and always makes a good pickup because of his good starting attributes. He's a player that's born to score goals, so with that being said, let's get right into it. Hello everybody and welcome back to Wonderkid to Superstar, a series where we take a Wonderkid in FM22, put them to the higher end of their potential range to see what kind of player you might be able to get in your save, and who knows, this guy might be your new starting striker if you give him a go. Make sure you do stick with me in this video because I'll show you how we turn what looks like an average striker into a world-class player. So with that being said, I won't waste too much more time, let's get right into it. We are here with Real Madrid in the Spanish First Division, and in that division you will find Real San Sebastian, also known as Real Sociedad. If we go to their side and click all players and then sort by age, you will see an 18-year-old Spanish striker by the name of, and bear with me if I get this wrong, John Carricabaru. For the sake of not embarrassing myself, I'm just going to call him John. But John, as you can see here, is a striker who at the age of 18 has some good attributes and he has good potential too, but maybe he doesn't look like he's going to be the world's best straight away. But there's a few things that will help a lot in John's development. The reason I wanted to do a video on him today is because he's someone that I've seen in a lot of saves become a good player on a lot of occasions. It doesn't seem you ever get a really bad version of John because he is a bit older now, he's 18 years of age, meaning his current ability at the start of your save can sometimes mean that no matter what, you're going to get a decent player, no matter where his potential range is falling. Speaking of his potential range, ignore the star ratings here, they will change as time goes on, but he has a potential of 140 to 170. If he's on the lower end of that range, you're still getting a decent Spanish First Division striker, and on the higher end of that range, you are going to get, with the way that John grows, one of the world's most elite forwards, and you're about to see him be an incredible player in the simulation. A few things to note from the off. Here I have the Spanish First Division loaded, so as long as you've got the Spanish First Division in your save, you should see him. I also have it selected to large database, so maybe that will make an impact too, but just keep an eye out for that. He should be in most saves though, because I see him pretty much all the time. In terms of his price, it will depend on where his potential range falls in your save, but from my tests, at the most, you're looking at £25 million on a release clause. I don't know if that release clause can change and vary, but for me, it was 25 million, but you can usually, no matter what potential he has, negotiate that to a lot lower in terms of the value. Somewhere between 10, 15, 20 million, depending on the player, is a good deal for this man, who has some good physical attributes. It's actually probably his strongest area from the bat. He's strong but also quick, agile, with good balance and 6 foot tall. Mentally, whilst he is lacking in some areas, he has some very good attributes in that advanced forward position, particularly if we select that. And then technically, whilst he might not be the world's best passer and finisher, he'll get there. He has some very good technique though, dribbling and first touch to help him along the way, as well as a decent long shot on him. Now though, it's time to move him over to our Real Madrid side, where we're going to look at how we're going to make him a world-class player. Okay, here we are. We have moved John over to our Real Madrid side using the editor, but you guys will be able to buy him very easily, I am sure. We're using a 4-2-3-1 Gegenpress preset tactic with John set as the striker in our system to play as many games as possible. It is just a preset tactic. I've just moved a couple of roles around and that's it. No additional instructions, no special corner tactic. John isn't on set pieces or penalties or anything like that to get some better results. This is the player that we're looking at. His value has gone up since joining Real Madrid, and he does look like a decent player, but we need to develop him a lot more to be a very good striker for this Real Madrid side. Now, of course, realistically, you would not start him in a team like Real Madrid straight away. However, for the sake of the simulation, we like to see the players at their best, so that's what we're going to do. Chances are, if John never gets a go in those crucial years between 18 and 21, those crucial development years, his progress might halt, and then you might not get a good player out of John. But if he gets a chance early on, no matter the level, it will develop him into a very good striker. And I think even straight away, the reason that he seems to be so good in my opinion is that in every save I've done, at worst he looks like a decent striker, and that's because his starting attributes are already pretty good for that position. In terms of his training and what we're going to do to make him as powerful as possible, we've got him on double intensity, and of course we are focusing in on that advanced forward position on attack, the role that we're going to use him in, which I think actually suits him because of his pacey style physical and his good mental attributes in anticipation and composure very well. Now, I'll spoil it a little bit by saying John does very well in these simulations straight away, and I think it is because even though his finishing isn't high, he has the things that I've seen in Football Manager this year that make a very good striker. That's anticipation, composure, mixed with some very good pacey attributes. And John, yeah, you'll see in a minute just how well he does, but he looks like he's ready to go. An important thing to note for John, though, I think, is that his personality isn't that great. A lot of times I've seen his determination is on the lower end. That could have been random, but in this case, we're going to use mentors at the Real Madrid club, use some of the most level-headed players at the club to develop John into the top-tier talent we know he can be. So with that being said, let's simulate only 4 years in the future to see what kind of player John has become, and just brace yourself for this one. Okay, here we are in 2025, the end of John's 4th season, and usually in these videos, after only a few years, you can see the player on the lower end of their potential range. They won't have developed to the maximum, but you can at least see them in that 130, 140 state. But John, within 4 years, I think it's because he was 18, and between 18 and 21, these players that get first team football can develop a hell of a lot. And John, well, basically, he's not 170 yet in his potential range, but he is already, within 4 years, over a 160 current ability rating, and he looks like an unbelievable player. Now valued at around £90 million, this guy isn't just scoring for our Real Madrid team, but actually for our national team, where we're not managing at all, which goes to show that he is quality in front of goal. 7 goals in 4 under-21 caps, and then 11 goals in 20 caps for Spain. Who knows how many times that was coming off the bench or starting, but the way he's developing is unbelievable. Physically, he is impeccable, quick, strong, agile, good balance, good natural fitness, and jumping reach. He is already an elite striker at the age of 22. He's earned himself a contract of £300,000 a week, better than Vinicius Jr., better than Karim Benzema, who is obviously a little older at this stage. But John is developing at a rapid rate. I believe it is because of those good starting attributes make him very good in a match engine right from the off, and therefore you can see some big developments straight away. If we highlight this advanced forward role on attack that John has been playing, we can see he has developed a hell of a lot. Anticipation and composure, along with off the ball, technique, passing, first touch, dribbling and finishing are at a crazy level, adding some nice long shots, and that combination of pace, off the ball, anticipation and composure can really add another element to a guy in a match engine in FM22. From my experience, you can have all the technical ability that you want in the world, but players like John and Karim Adeyemi is another example where even if his finishing isn't super high, he will score so many goals because of those physical, raw attributes that he does have. But how has it helped John perform in game? Very well is the answer. Right from the off, John played 22 times in that first season, scoring 10 goals. Now, of course, playing at Real Madrid, he's going to score more than other clubs. He's got good players servicing him, but these numbers are still crazy no matter who the player is. To be doing that at 18 years of age with very little development goes to show how well John is doing. 10 goals in 22 appearances. He follows that up by scoring 38 goals in 38 games, pretty much for 2 seasons consecutively, with 37 and 38, and also 36 goals in a 32 game season cut short by injury, hitting over a 7.5 average match rating in every season. But John's only going to get better from here. Let's go see him in the prime of his career later on down the line. Okay, here we are in 2035. We went a lot further down the line than I originally anticipated, but this is where the save file is. He might not be in the prime of his career here, but he's still one of the world's best strikers with a superbly accomplished career. Before we get into that though, if you are enjoying the video, don't forget to smash the like button, comment your rating for the player down below out of 10, and check out my Villarreal save on my channel should you want to. John is a player that we've been looking at in that save to potentially sign, and yeah, a lot of you guys have came over, have really enjoyed it, and I'm only 100 subscribers off now from getting 8,000 subs, so anyone who can come over there and support me towards that goal, I'll love you, I'll greatly appreciate it. But anyway, back to the video. 2035, John is 32, I believe, 32, 31. He is 32 years of age at this point, on £425,000 a week, classed as a 4-star player now. He's starting to deteriorate a little bit, but you'll see where his physicals have started to decline only just slightly, by the way, because they're still very good. He's also 6'1". I've only just noticed that. That feels like he's grown a bit. But yeah, whether the physicals have started to decline a bit, you will see his mentals and his technicals are beginning to get better. And he's aging like a fine wine in this forward position in a team with Vinicius Jr., João Felix, some of the best players of his generation. John is outshining them all as the kind of player that he still is at this point. 62 goals for Spain in 109 international appearances is super impressive, but maybe not as impressive as his illustrious career as a Real Madrid player. You last saw him in this 4th season. If I don't click off it, you'll be able to see. There you go, in his 4th season here. From then, he followed it up, scoring goal after goal, game after game. In one season, scoring 45 goals in only 38 league appearances, hitting 7.7 pluses in a lot of his seasons. And even now, as he gets older, he is still scoring pretty much a goal a game, which he has done for his whole career. He is an unbelievable striker, but I do have a save file a few years ahead of this as he gets towards retirement, so let me quickly switch over to that so you can see his last few years. And there we go, the 36-year-old John is still a star player at the club. He's a model professional. Despite his physicals deteriorating slightly, everything else is still at a very good level. And saying that, his physicals are actually still very good. Since you last saw him, he's kept on scoring pretty much a goal a game, and even exceeding it in this recent season at the age of 35. And again, in his most recent season at the age of 36. This guy, he just finds the back of the net. I don't know what it is about him. Even now as he gets a little bit slower, he is still such a good player, has done so well for us. And whilst the wages on his contract are going down a little bit, this man can still score goals. He does retire at this point though on a high after the end of his season, from my simulations at least, but he has done very well in this save. Has he won any awards though? I don't know yet. I haven't looked. I'm hoping he's got a Ballon d'Or or something under his belt. He's been immense for Spain, winning the World Cup and the Euros, scoring in the final of the Euros. They won the European versus South American Cup as well. Adding to that the Nations League, he has pretty much won everything for Spain. And I hadn't seen this yet, but I've just searched up the Ballon d'Or, and how cool is this? So we started our simulation here. In 2024, John won his first Ballon d'Or. A couple years later, he came back with his next, that makes 2. And then after 2029, he won it for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, what is that, 10? I think he might have actually won 11 or 12 Ballon d'Ors, which is incredible. He is a record breaker. I don't think I've actually had a simulation where a player's won that many Ballon d'Ors, and especially considering the player this guy starts off as, with a release clause on him as well. He's just such a good option up top. If we go to World Player of the Year as well, he's still winning that competition. I don't know exactly which one is the Ballon d'Or. I always forget, but he's always doing the job up top. World Team of the Year, striker John Baru in 2038, and if I keep going back, I imagine no matter the ever-changing players in these lineups over the years, he has been the world's best striker outside of a couple good Erling Haaland seasons, pretty much since we started this simulation. Like I say, if you can give him game time in a good team between those ages of 18 and 21, he really has the potential to set the world alight. So that was John Baru. If you guys enjoyed the video, don't forget to smash the like button, check out my channel linked in the description if you want to, but most of all, have a great day everyone, and I'll see you next time. Thank you, and goodbye.